Hey, beautiful people. Welcome back to an all-new episode of Point of View. We've officially made it to the end of the week, and Willie is here to join us for today's show. Hey, Willie.
Thank you. I know. It's all
the end of the week. Listen, we rush all the time to Friday, but I saw a song that I fell in love with this week. I actually heard a song, and it said that Friday is only good because Sunday's on the way. And so that gave me a new perspective, for the enthusiasm for Friday. So I'm happy that it's Friday because Sunday I'm almost here and I get to go to church.
Yeah.
Coming up, Shannon Sharpe temporarily steps away from his role at ESPN in the midst of his $50 million sexual assault lawsuit. And you don't want to miss the wild story about a woman who pretended to be an ICE agent just to fake arrest her ex-boyfriend's new wife. Later, we're diving into unpopular opinion in Mind, Body, and Soul. So stay tuned and join the discussion. You're watching POV. Listen, I am sad to say that Shannon Sharpe has been the topic of conversation all week long. And the latest update is that he's decided to temporarily step away from his role at ESPN amid his $50 million sexual assault lawsuit. Sharpe has publicly denied the allegations, stating that the relationship was 100% consensual and describing the lawsuit as a shakedown. He says he'll be focusing on his family and addressing the claims during this hiatus, with plans to return to ESPN by the start of the NFL preseason. If y'all ready to rumble, let me know, baby, because I'm ready to jump on in, okay? First, what I want to say is I find this interesting and disturbing. Literally, I find this interesting and very disturbing that people always want to focus on family. We ain't heard nothing about all them kids you got. Nothing, okay? We ain't even seen one of them honorarily on one of them couches you have over there for that podcast you be doing. But all of a sudden, now you're focusing on family. And didn't Cat Williams tell this man to leave them young white girls alone because they will take his life in 2 weekends?
And Monique, too.
Okay.
Oh, well, he don't got one.
Now, this is Miss Netta's brother. And so...
Allegedly. But you ain't hear from me because I ain't the one to gossip.
So...
It's time to go.
So with that being said, like, this is not, there's something that came out. When was it that supposedly his Instagram popped on while he was in the middle of having intercourse, and that was supposed to prove his sexuality and stuff. So I think that, like, you just
prove his sexuality.
Because everybody, because remember he came out the car and had on that those tight jumpsuit.
Yeah. I think that picture was edited, but
No, the picture was not edited, but I don't think that speaks to the fact of him being, heterosexual or homosexual.
Right, it does not.
He just has that body and he don't know how to dress it, baby. Lululemon is not for you.
Lululemon.
Child, it was not.
Well, go ahead.
Well, there's no better time. There's no better time than now for him to focus on family. It's a good move. Probably, too much time in between, but it's a good move right now. So good for you, Shannon.
Wait, this is the man's go. Who is the family? Because normally people say that they're trying to get back to a wife and kid. So if he's out here having
no, let me tell you. The family is always the black kids that they had with black wives back in the day before they started backdooring white women.
And ignored them.
But it's Friday, y'all better leave it alone now. Leave it alone. Okay. Do we feel like Shannon Sharpe is making the right decision? Or does his decision make him look even more guilty to now focus on family?
Well, yeah, because I really wanted to understand why is he taking a break from ESPN? I mean, these are other men. I would imagine that
he don't want people to question him. Because of the logistics. I'm sure behind the scenes they're making him stand down.
But it's like ESPN. I mean, it's all like men.
Well, they do that to protect them. It's more of like
their brand.
Saving face. So they're going to go in there and say, okay, you take this break. We're looking at it. Let things air off a little bit. Because, in news, stuff lasts about 2 weeks. And then he'll pop back up and say, hey, we're going through the process. It's all part of the publicity.
But it's like, okay, then that makes sense. Because I'm like, how many times, like a year, in a month, a week, do we hear about, these men going through these issues in sports? I mean, it's not uncommon that we hear it. So I'm like, why even take the break? Just keep on moving. I just don't get it. But if you say it's about publicity or whatever,
never said he's going to stop getting the check.
Oh, they just say he's taking a break.
Right, so it's just an extended vacation.
Being on the front lines.
That's it.
until it all plays out at the end of the day.
They all go
He
through this
gonna be
though.
with,
It just makes
Diddy.
like, why even bother just to take
Diddy
the
gonna
break? They
share
all
the
do
cell.
it and go through it.
Okay, but
Okay.
we do know that Jay-Z's and a few of Diddy's sexual assault charges have been dismissed. Do we think that it's going to play out the same with Shannon Sharpe?
As far as him being a part of the Diddy scandal?
No, girl.
Sexual assault.
As far as this
Oh.
sexual assault case with him trying to
Oh.
bust out the little 19-year-old white girl back door.
Oh, gosh,
So
why
this is-
do you have to say it like that? Jeez.
She's trying to stress me out today. She's on a mission to stress me out right now. Okay, because
That's what she said he was doing to her.
I don't know.
Busted out her back. That's what he said.
He was
She said-
anally, that's busted out somebody's back door.
Jesus fixed it.
we never want to say like the victim is not a victim, but we really don't know. Like the situation is so touchy. We really don't know what's true, what's not true.
really
Because
don't.
I'm gonna keep saying it. If this man never caught this deal, would she have came forward?
I think
With her
that
story.
But this is a $50 million accusation.
I understand that 100%,
I'm about to
and
make
I
me one
feel like
against
it
them, too.
probably definitely was consensual. But at the end of the day, I feel like in situations like this, especially younger white women, but women, period, tend to have the upper hand when it comes to these type of situations.
What women? What
Women.
Women in general.
Women in general?
Yeah, women in general, with sexual assault and, saying no, especially when it comes to backdoor activity, because they also have a sex tape that Shannon Sharpe alleged is going to be released.
So
And
maybe it
if
sounds like she said
if
yes
that
in the
comes out,
moment.
if that comes out and anyone is busting out a back door, I would assume I've never had my door broken out, okay? But I would
can't.
assume that it's painful, and at some point you say no. So at that point, does she have legal standing
Okay.
for saying no?
So Ty, let's
she say no in the
wait,
video?
Thank you.
Cause-
Exactly. Let's be
He
real.
said it looks worse than it is, so that means she probably was saying no. He was busting the back door out.
Okay, let's
We
be
have
real.
not heard it yet.
Let's be real. There is people that have these fetishes of that whole
Right,
anal
it's called
sex.
dominatrix.
Well, not only that, it's also a way of them trying to
It's
keep
called
their
sexual perversion.
where it's trying to keep their
it's not.
virginity.
Yes, it is.
They think it's keeping their virginity because they're not having sex in the normal way because they're doing it anally. Yeah, there's a belief of
no,
that.
people think that.
Right,
Yeah,
so
'cause
it
a lot
could be
of
a whole
guys
thing.
think that they're also
don't
not
think so.
gay
because
if
of
they,
the
yeah.
If
So
they're
the-
givers and not takers.
Yeah.
right.
Hey.
So I think that she's trying to get $50 million.
This conversation has gone very far, and I don't even know where to put my input.
Well, you don't have
Well,
to
not
put
in
it
the
in.
back door.
We're
That's
moving
where
on
y'all
to the
put it.
next segment. In other news, stories like this, you really can't make up. A Florida woman, 52 years old, very creative.
Jesus. Yeah.
LaTrance Battle is now behind bars after allegedly posing. This ain't alleged either. After she posed as an ICE agent to kidnap her ex-boyfriend.
Now they know she wasn't no ICE
wife.
agent.
Don't you know?
Listen,
They need
listen,
to
y'all.
stop.
She showed up to the woman's job in full ICE gear, which I don't know what ICE
She
gear
went
looks
to
like.
Halloween,
Okay?
Where
the
did she
Halloween
get
outlet.
it from, though?
The
Like,
Halloween,
Amazon,
the
girl, where everybody can get it from. Maybe TikTok shop, okay?
TikTok shop. Oh my
I
gosh.
can't.
But I saw that picture. I was like,
Now
just
you
stop
know-
it right now.
You set it
Stop
off,
it right
girl.
now.
I cannot take her serious because how could you look at this woman and say, okay, yes,
She's
I'm gonna
a-
go with
she-
you?
Right?
Like,
oh,
ain't no way. I probably would have hit this woman.
no.
Oh my
There's
God.
no way.
But you know, they've been taking people off the streets, so people aren't sure.
No,
I mean,
ma'am.
people off the streets
I
are
bet this
You
usually
gonna
was-
have to show me some identification
She
that you are.
had fake credentials.
she had
Lord have
credentials.
mercy.
No,
this
she
was
didn't.
this was in Liberty City. I
Yes,
bet.
she did.
You shut up.
Listen, though, no, she's facing multiple charges, including kidnapping, robbery, and sudden snatching. I didn't even know that was a charge. But impersonating a law enforcement officer and violating probation.
Can we just stop for a second because we need to explain to everybody what the heck is sudden snatching?
I don't know.
does that
That
mean?
must be when you do it real quick.
Suddenly.
When you, listen, that's why you got to be very careful in the United States of America, baby, because they making up a
Yo,
new charge every
like,
day. Okay?
quicker than that.
Listen, sudden snatching.
Sudden snatching is
Listen,
Oh
have you
my
guys ever
God.
seen that Facebook page where they list all the people in your city that have gotten arrested
Yes.
the night before? Imagine you
Yes.
see somebody charged with sudden snatching.
And when they see who it was that was sudden snatching,
Exactly. What did she suddenly slash? I want to know.
Lord have mercy.
And she allegedly, I believe the story says that she tried to, lock the lady up, take her to jail, whatever the situation may be.
Now, what was she gonna say when she got down there to the precinct? What was she gonna say? Because they don't even
Where
know who
was she
she
taking
is.
and what
So
time?
what's she gonna go in there and say? I got this woman here. Who are you?
Who knows? She
was
probably was
serious.
taking her to maybe, you don't know, she could have been trying to kill the lady. You don't know.
Yeah, we don't know the whole story. We haven't gotten all of it. But I tell you what.
Are you crying?
Yes, because it's all comedy up here. You know?
Yeah, that was my next question. What do we think LaTrance, and her name was LaTrance, she was probably in a trance too.
Okay.
What do we think she was gonna do with the
LaTrance?
lady? What had she gotten away with her?
no.
LaTrance Battle Boy. I don't know where her parents picked that name from.
Oh my
LaTrance in the battle, Lord.
She been in a battle when she going over there. Her ex-boyfriends. You wasn't even a fiance. You going over there as the ex-girlfriend.
I want to
That's
know
ridiculous.
who raised these people, because I just have a moral standing
A battle.
that does not allow me to want anyone or anything that don't want me. Once you don't want me, baby,
They say-
I don't want you. What they say? I don't want you. I don't
was
want you. I don't want you.
Yeah.
She got a check from Trump.
But
You think
Stop it right
Trump
there.
sent her?
He probably
You think
did.
Trump sent her over there to go? You know, hey,
That's
he probably, the way he got them people sweating over there trying to get back to their country, he probably is using regular cars like Amazon now. Anybody who got a car, you can be an Amazon delivery.
a quick
Yeah,
snatch.
probably the same with.
A second snatcher.
Listen, y'all, we have to take a quick commercial break, but coming up, we have unpopular opinion in Mind, Body, and Soul, so stay tuned when you're watching POV.
What's up, y'all? It's Friday, and I got a question. So, what, Willie, sit back. Women do not get enough credit for.
I think as a mother, I feel like women do not get enough credit for being octopuses. Literally. Because I feel like
Work-life, personal balance.
everything.
Everything.
I'm talking about cooking,
Yeah.
on the phone, laundry, put the baby in the shower, get the diaper, vacuum the floor, mop at the same time, literally. And I tell my kids all the time, I'm not an octopus.
Yeah.
And I don't think they see that because I am an octopus.
You
And I
are.
think women don't get enough credit for that.
I believe that as mothers.
Literally.
Yeah,
Raquel, what do
I
you
think
think?
just being women in general. I mean, women are the strongest people I have seen on
at
this
Willie's face.
planet. Okay, I mean, they take over the responsibility men are supposed to take. They take over. They have the women responsibility. I mean, women are champions on this planet, and they do not get enough credit for that.
Willie, what is something you think men don't
Do you
get
have
enough
anything
credit
good to
for?
say about women, Willie?
I think that men don't get
Don't
enough.
piss me off now.
Men don't get enough credit for those that are actually providers.
We're talking about women, though, Willie.
No.
Can you say anything good about the women?
Me.
She asking.
We're
asked
asking
him about
about
men.
women.
About men,
Oh,
yes.
okay.
I asked them about men.
But what about the
Oh,
women?
okay.
Say something for old time's sake.
Oh, please.
No, I believe women. So I was raised by a strong black woman, but I believe that sometimes that they overlook those who are also strong black men.
Okay.
We get it, Willie, but it wasn't about y'all. Thank
I had to.
Okay, listen, y'all.
But I think y'all-
for the women and men at home, drop down in our comments and let us know what you think each sex doesn't get enough credit for.
Welcome back. It's that part of the show
Cutting up.
where things can get a little heated and our views don't always align. But anyways, let's get into unpopular opinions. Earlier this week, we had an amazing conversation. We opened up talking about Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who's now serving as U.S. Secretary of Health and Human Services. And once again, he's at the center of controversy. In a recent press conference, he described autism as an epidemic that destroys families. There's a lot to unpack here. And honestly, we ran out of time on our last segment. We really couldn't get into it. But just to refresh our memory, here's the video that we were talking about. Take a look at this clip.
Autism destroys families. More importantly, it destroys our greatest resource, which are our children. These are children who should not be suffering like this. These are kids who, many of them were fully functional and regressed because of some environmental exposure into autism when they're 2 years old. And these are kids who will never pay taxes, they'll never hold a job, they'll never play baseball, they'll never write a poem, they'll never go out on a date. Many of them will never use a toilet unassisted. And we have to recognize.
Okay, so this conversation.
I don't want to ever hear that clip again.
No, I understand his voice is a little bit painful, but what I want to ask first is that outside of the fact that he said kids with autism, or these kids that he's talking about in particular, maybe with this particular kind of autism, may never, go to the mailbox, use the bathroom on their own.
Well, he specifically mentioned taxes first. So.
Right. But before that, do you guys understand at all what he said before that part?
What I understand is that he is an ignorant man.
So you missed what he said.
For speaking, because there's a way to say things. You know what I'm saying? Like, if he wanted to say something that was actually meaningful, then he could have just kept it at that statement. But he went on to make it seem like anyone that has autism is in this bubble and they can't get out of this bubble and they can't do anything, when there are levels to autism. Like, there are fully functioning people. Yeah. We probably have friends who are undiagnosed that have autism and are out here living regular lives, and we don't even know until they have an episode.
I understand what you're saying, but I think maybe what a lot of people miss is what he was talking about the environmental exposure these kids are getting around 2 years old, which we talked a little bit about that, I believe on Wednesday. But, with that aspect of it, maybe he's talking about the adverse effects that he understands and knows for a fact is happening on the inside in the way that it really does affect other people. So even though, yes, we know people that have all kinds of different autism on the spectrum and they function different ways, we don't overlook the fact that he possibly could be talking about this one strain and what this injection and this drugs and the MMR vaccine is actually doing to kids, because that's what I get.
And how is he actively working to stop it?
He's speaking about it right now.
That's what. That's what he's saying. So we have to realize that the past administration had an issue that they worked alongside Big Pharma, and we can agree with that. So Big Pharma, and we know, Raquel, you are big into health and you understand natural things. So I say that to say that Big Pharma has been what is destructive to all of us. They all get paid off of us being sick. Right. So I believe he's addressing the issue that these kids should not have to succumb to environmental, what's the word he used?
Environmental exposure.
And also experimental drugs. A lot of these kids are getting
And he's talking about vaccines.
Right. So you get like Ritalin and Adderall. Imagine the first group of kids that had the experience going through that. My brother is still suffering at 33 years old from him as a teen taking Ritalin because it was an experiment. Yeah. And so that's what I'm trying to say. That a lot of kids are suffering today, and it was not the autism back then like it now. Now it's almost every other child you see, they're autistic. Why? What is the root of that?
And what I do want to say, I think we cut off on that point on Wednesday. You had mentioned that, I believe it was 1 in 4, that was getting, autism or whatever. And even that number really stuck out to me because I was having a conversation. I remember I was pregnant with my last baby. He's getting ready to be 2 now. I have to take God willing after everything. And when I was pregnant with him, I was still a hairstylist at the time, and we were in the salon, and there happened to be a client that I had, another girl that worked in the salon. She had a client and a client waiting. And so we were just talking about vaccines randomly in the salon that day. And so, they were asking me if I was going to breastfeed and things like that. And so I was saying that, I was on the fence and I was thinking about not getting this baby vaccinated, and I hadn't got my prior baby vaccinated either. And so then I was talking about, some of the research around the MMR vaccine, which was causing kids to be, autistic. So allegedly. And, I believe that it was nothing but God that day that we had that conversation in salon. And my client, the client that was getting her hair done by the other stylist, and her friend, the one that was waiting to get her hair done, they all said that their children between the ages of 18 months to 2, once they got them that MMR vaccine, all of them regressed. One of them stopped talking, one of them stopped walking, and the other one just pretty much like checked out. And at that time, the doctors wouldn't say because they were too early to be diagnosed as autistic. And so they all fought it. But imagine you're working with your child to make sure that they're developmentally reaching these hurdles, and they're talking and they're walking and they're doing all these things. And you think that, your baby is smart, and they're not smart after, but they're losing basic motor skills, basic communication skills. Yeah. These are things that are happening, just like when we saw people getting COVID and they were saying, if you get the COVID vaccine, you're walking backwards, or you can't walk, or you're losing your motor skills, or you're clucking like a chicken, all of these different things. Yeah. And this is what the government is legit doing.
Well,
it's all about population control.
I know a lady in LA, and that was something that happened. Her kid was speaking sentences, everything, about 2 years old. Got that vaccine, couldn't speak anymore. And they were just devastated. Like, what happened here? And the only thing she could attribute it to was the vaccine. And then, I have a cousin who is autistic, and his family talks about how hard it was raising him because they couldn't even touch him because I guess they found that if they touch him, he would get like fiery, and it would vibrate, and it would just like send him into this whole thing. But now he's good. He and I have just connected like in the past 2 years. We talk all the time. He tells me everything that's going on with him, and he just makes a whole lot of sense. But then there's someone else, my ex-husband's nephew was autistic. But I tell you one thing, that family never treated him like he had any problems, and he's able to take care of himself. He lives on his own, or maybe he lives with someone else, but he was always like, I would say he was like one of the best people in that whole family because he had compassion. He was able to speak and talk like no one else apparently was. And he was really an overall good person. And he didn't have those problems that you couldn't touch him from what I had, from what I know.
Issues.
Yeah, but it is different levels. And to say, I don't like that he started it off with talking about taxes. I don't like them when they say any of this stuff. They'll never pay taxes. They'll never have a job. No, that's not true.
And that's not true. I know
plenty of them have jobs. Yes, my cousin, my husband's nephew, they've had jobs. So it's not like some people I do get that it's like really full blown and really bad. They can't do anything. Yeah. But it's not everyone. Extreme cases in everybody.
Right. And I believe that 100%. I know a lot of autistic people and people on the spectrum that are thriving, and I thank God for that. And I believe that God can turn anything around, but at the same time, we do not know what they are, conjuring up or mixing up in these labs, so we don't know how these things will affect us long term.
Well, if they know it's happening, then why do you keep doing it? If you know that it's affecting children, because you got to know.
That's the whole plan.
Yeah, and you have to know. So then, why do you keep doing it? So I hope he does something about it.
Of course, and we can move on. They're not the ones really doing it.
When you get
big pharma involved, a lot of these people pay off people to pass legislation to help them to continue to do their work, their research. $10 million for this, especially when you got what's the one that runs Microsoft, Bill Gates. Why between him and Oprah, they're destructive to the.
Well, is his plan to stop this or to do more testing to take out whatever that things are that's in there that's causing that's in the vaccine that's causing the autism?
His first step, which actually just went into effect, was with the taking out the Red 40, making sure that the companies was mandated to change their ingredient list to take out Red 40. So he's slowly doing it because remember when
Red 40 was in that vaccine.
Red 40 is in the food. Like he's trying to get it, but remember. With stuff like that, it can't be done so quick because the companies have to pay for that, and so they have to give them a window. They're saying that they won't be able to get all the companies up to code until 2027. But it's in
and by that time, who knows how many people could die?
Right.
But it's so crazy because they knew they had to know this red dye was a problem anyway. But they thought it'd be cheaper.
This is America.
To add it to this cheap.
Well,
cheap,
when you
high
think
fructose corn syrup, it's cheap. Okay. Adding more in the grains. What were they adding when people say they need to have gluten and just adding like extra gluten?
Well, we spent 8 years with Sleeping Joe Biden in the basement.
My God, the man got ago. I
when
mean,
for
come
sure
on,
Republican
wow.
was in office.
Please, listen, people didn't start getting autism and diabetes
8
and
years
all these
ago.
things just 8 years ago now.
Thank you.
Come on now, Willie, do better.
Willie, stop.
Listen, okay. But you know, this makes me think about a local doctor that I was taking my kids to because she would take unvaccinated kids. And, you know, she had a nice little office over the years because she takes unvaccinated kids. Now she's lost her government funding. And so, you know, she's able to offer, like, you know, lower costs, but now her office is dilapidated. And so I'm like, I'm only one person, and I really want, like, the community to, like, come together and fix up her office. But now, in order to get her government funded, she's starting to offer vaccines again, which she didn't even believe in. So now she's trying to push me to get my kids vaccinated, baby. You better believe we're going somewhere else after we paint your doors. But that's enough for today's show. Listen, I'm going to paint them doors, okay? But we're signing off. Here's a quote from the day, straight from the late and great Tupac Shakur. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Come on now. Take the moment and make it perfect. Thanks for spending time with us today. We'll see y'all next time on BOB. Have a good weekend.